Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we'll be taking a look at the track Overflow by the Australian metalcore band Polaris. This is the third track to be released from their upcoming third studio album Fatalism, which is due to land on September 1st and serves as the follow-up to their previous album The Death of Me, which certainly received some very strong reviews, and the band have really been riding that wave of success as they've continued to develop their sound, their style, and really show exactly what they're capable of. Unfortunately though, for the band it hasn't all been smooth sailing, with the passing of lead guitarist Ryan Shue just a number of months ago, and whilst a lot of these music videos and music was written prior to his passing, it's really added an extra layer of depth to the meaning of the tracks. The band have often focused on anxiety, depression. It's certainly something they may have been struggling with as well following his passing, given how unexpected it did seem, but it's really enabled people to really get on board with how the band are feeling with some of their music that they do produce and put out. And we've certainly seen that with tracks such as Inhumane and Nightmare, which really had these very powerful, strong messages, but certainly applied to a much wider audience and really were accessible to almost everybody in the things that you can go through in life. It's something they like to put into a lot of their music and really focus on with the messages they do try to convey. So will this latest track prove to be the correct measure or spill excessively? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
I've been lost, alone in a crowd. Can't remember when the silence got so loud. We believe, but what do we know? All the things we bought along will one day start to overflow.
Okay, one thing I really love they do in the chorus is switch from all this more melodic style into something a bit more headbanging, just in the midst of the chorus, really playing with these two different sounds and styles just throughout the chorus, really breaking it up to really show two sides of what the band are capable of. And lyrically, I love the way that they're structuring some of these lyrics. Where do I shelter when it's raining inside? And it's a really clever lyric. It's kind of this idea of this rain in your mind really just kind of coming down upon you. You can't kind of shelter from something, you can't hide away. So I really like the way they kind of constructed that lyric at the start of the chorus, asking that question of how do I escape something that's almost inside. The place I would normally shelter is now got this rain pouring down, so you can really see how it's kind of, you can't escape your own mind. And I really think it's very clever the way they've built it around that single lyric, no peace and quiet from the noise in my mind. So you can really see them focusing again on things such as mental health, and I feel like this is really focusing around the idea of panic attacks or anxiety, and we can really see that from the opening line. I've been lost alone in a crowd, can't remember when the silence got so loud. You've got people around you, but you're drowning everything out because you're almost overstimulated, trying to shut yourself into a box. And one thing they did that was really clever at the start of the actual song had this very frantic, almost programmed sound, really almost like your brain is getting hit by this constant stimulation to the point where you can no longer bear it. They're kind of also emulating that heavy amount of fuzz and noise that's going on, so I really like they're showing that. Also an interesting switch in perspective as well, going from the I throughout the chorus and those first couple of lines, and then using we as well. We believe, but what do we know? All the things we bottle up will one day start to overflow. Almost like it's kind of got that more inclusive styling coming in with some of the lyrics, that it applies to everybody. Anybody can kind of get built up to that point where they explode because they try and bottle everything up. And it's again a really smart metaphor of just constantly adding to the bottle to the point where it can't contain anything more. And this simple idea of overflowing, the point where you build things up so much that you can no longer contain them. So a very smart and well crafted set of lyrics coming in even just at the start of the track.
We took a chance, a shot in the dark. Let it echo like the rattle of a hollow heart. I thought I had everything that meant something to me. I wasn't ready to face what I want, what I need. Now I need to escape. The cross is
And I like how we're seeing this continued develop, really putting through very clever lyrics, this constant emphasis of trying to break free from something. I thought I had everything that meant something to me. I wasn't ready to face what I want, what I need, not ready to tackle this almost issue that's holding you back, and not ready to kind of let it be known to other people. And you can see they're constantly including this other person. I can't stand to see you like this idea that somebody kind of can see what you're doing to yourself, the things that you're going through, but you're not willing to open up to them. So I like how they're making this inclusion of really opening up to somebody else rather than bottling everything up through the later stages of the chorus, because it's more than I can take. So you can really see the impact it really has on somebody, especially when you can see somebody else really struggling with things such as anxiety. So I really like how they're doing that. I feel the lifeblood freezing in my veins. So you can really see that cold as ice touch where you just shut everything down. Your whole body effectively shuts down. So again, just very clever lyrics. And I love the way they're continuing to play with the vocals, really bouncing between Jamie and Jake, really just kind of mixing things up constantly, kind of letting them take it in turns. I'd imagine they will possibly come together, clash together, and really work together as a duo later into the track as we do hit probably, I'd imagine, a slightly heavy element that will be coming a little bit later in the track. But I'm really enjoying the way they're not kind of overcrowding this song. It's got some really simple melodic parts, and the way that it switches from that into something a bit more headbanging is really great, and the way they're able to flow between the two styles so seamlessly and not really lose some of that melody that they've tried to incorporate. Okay, I love how as we head in towards the bridge and late stages of the track, we're almost getting this inner monologue coming through with some of these almost hushed, more kind of backing style vocals really coming in from Jamie. I am not what I think, I am not what I feel. So it's almost like this point where you're kind of internalizing everything, and you're getting to this point where you're really erupting almost. You have that kind of point where you condense everything and then it crashes out, this point of overflowing with these more aggressive vocals. So I really do like how they're playing on that style, the idea of just constantly bottling up and getting to this point where everything does explode. It's never a case of someone just breaking this. Sometimes people break down and cry, but tends to be a very violent or certainly a very powerful outreach of emotion when people do bottle things up. So I like how they're really showing that the earth is spinning much too fast for me, really showing this dizziness that people get when they have panic attacks. The air is thick and it makes me sick to breathe. So you often see someone suffering from anxiety or things like that. They feel quite lightheaded, they feel very dizzy, they feel like they can't breathe, like they're being choked. So you can really see the lyrics touching very cleverly on this idea, really bringing it across. The idea of I lost years to future fears. You kind of have that very negative outlook on the rest of life, and that's being shown here. The idea of fearing the worst. Panic sets in and you can only think about everything going negatively, and anything can really incite that, and they're showing that again through the lyrics. The fact that you're dying to heal is such a strong and clever lyric. It's kind of almost like an oxymoron almost, in the way that you don't typically die to heal yourself. It's the two almost don't work, but they really do in this sense, because you're addicted and afflicted, so you're really desperate to get that healing, to kind of escape this period of anxiety. So again, just I really do love the way they have crafted this song around the idea, but they've not made it such a simple track that really covers it very basically. They do it in a way that really shows a lot of musical depth and depth in the lyrics as well. And I really like how they kind of almost emulated the start of the song at the end with the soft piano outro, almost like you've got to that point where that emotion has erupted, and then you've got to that point where you really do have that peace and that calm. After things start to calm down, you start to breathe that bit better, and you really start to let that panic almost stop kind of collapsing on your lungs almost, and your head as well. And what a really strong track that is. Certainly very personal, I do feel, compared to the first two tracks, which certainly had a much more open and vast feeling to them with tracks like Nightmare and Inhumane. This certainly feels like it's much more kind of enclosed in its space and its atmosphere. They've not really focused on these larger than life sounds. It really feels like almost like a one-on-one with the way that they bounce the vocals, the way that they're not really kind of pushing out too many instrumental elements. They're really keeping it quite short, quite jagged, and quite enclosed, and I really do like that. It really touches on the idea of this franticness that you do get from a panic attack, certainly with the opening of the track that really highlighted that very well. And the lyrics, again, I keep touching on it, I think they're really strong in the way they've crafted this idea of you can't find shelter because it's raining inside, and simple things like that, really showing the fact that you've got this rain inside your skull, in your brain, that really won't let you breathe for a single moment. So definitely another strong showing from the band, really showing another side as well compared to the first two tracks. And I think I'm really excited to get to hear Fatalism when it does release. I do think they're going to be at least trying to challenge the success they did have from their previous album, maybe trying to take it to another level, but we'll have to see what the album does sound like as a whole. So that will be everything for today's video, but if you do want to see more Polaris content, I did do a review of Nightmare, which you can check out. I'll put the link in the description of this video. Also free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below as well. How do you feel it lives up to the first two tracks we have got to hear? Or you may let me know how excited you are for Fatalism when it does land next Friday. Also, if you'd like to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.